If I were to make some changes to the Gnome Nautilus functionality, what would it be? And where is Gnome going in the future? Stick around, I'll be back in just a minute to talk about all those great and wonderful things. Welcome to the Drunk Linux User. I'm Len. I am the Drunk Linux User. And today I'm going to talk about a couple of the things that I have done to tweak Nautilus or files in the GNOME environment that I miss from other desktop environments such as Linux Mint Cinnamon using the Nemo file manager. And also you can find a lot of these features already built into KDE's, I think they call it the Discover or Discovery, whatever they call their file manager. XFCE's Thunar, and one of them is the type ahead feature, so that when you open up your file manager and you start searching for something in GNOME, all of a sudden, if you're, for example, in your home directory and you type in picture, you might start getting just a ton of stuff. You have to be a little bit more specific, and then you have to figure out which one you want, get to it. And what I like the most about some of these other file managers like Nemo is called a type ahead search. And type ahead search gives you the ability, as they're showing right here, to be able to start typing and just land on what you want to get. Now, this was available in GNOME before, and they took it out. But there is a way to be able to get that functionality back to some degree, and that's by bringing up your Nautilus or files file manager, go into preferences, scroll down to performance, and you'll see the first listing on mine is search in subfolders. Select it to never. It's normally defaulted to on this computer only, but select never, and what it'll do is, for example, if I want to get into a folder such as, we'll just say desktop, but I have, 3 folders there that start with the letter D. If I type D, all of a sudden I get a little bit better result. If I do E, then I have, I don't know why videos is on there, but it is. But if I type SK, there we go. Now this folder is empty, but you get the idea. Now you can hit Alt and the left arrow key, and it'll take you back just like it does in a web browser. I can live with that. That's acceptable. There is an alternative if you want to add a third-party PPA, and what this PPA will give you is a replacement to the standard version of Nautilus. And this is a third-party build, and I have tried it, and it works exactly like you'd expect it to, for example, in Nemo or Thunar. And I can't say anything negative about it, but I want to leave things as pristine as possible, even with all the little adjustments and tweaks. But what I mean by that is I want to maintain the Nautilus or the what they call it, file manager, the way that the system has been put in, and I don't want to screw things up. You can revert back to vanilla Nautilus by purging that PPA. It'll give you the option to remove that version of Nautilus that has been tweaked, and then you can go back to the original Nautilus. But once again, I think just changing the search and subfolders, if you're one of these type ahead freaks like I am, you're going to appreciate that. So that's one thing I would change. Now, the other thing that I like is when I open up my terminal, bring this little guy over here, I like being able to put in my password and have a visual representation of what's going on. I'm a touch typist, but sometimes I kind of flub up and I can kind of visually see what I'm doing if there is some type of response showing. For example, Joey's showing here on OMG Ubuntu that when you type in your password, you just get the cursor there and you don't see any response whatsoever. You can't tell that you've actually typed a word in there or not. I like that visual confirmation, so I went through these steps. Very, very easy. It really, truly is. And then once that's done, you can see that they're like in the Nemo file manager with Linux Mint, that you can see asterisks. Now I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. I'm going to update my system. Sudo apt update. Put in my password now. You'll see the asterisks are up there. Yeah, as I'm looking down my keyboard. I'm a touch typist. Anyway, I'm doing a video. I want to make sure I'm doing it right the first time. So there you go. It's a nice little finishing touch that absolutely makes things nice. Oh, I've got a package to upgrade. Skype. Oh, no, not Skype. Sudo apt. You can do list space hyphen upgradable to find out what it is before you install it. And it's LibreWolf. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm using LibreWolf with this particular video that we're doing right now. So I'll just go ahead and exit out of here. I'll take care of that later. All right, so that's the second thing that I would do. There are other things that are coming down the pike that I think are actually going to be worth the upgrade for. The Gnome developers have been working very hard actually to bring new things into the environment, which I think are going to be really nice. One of these is going to be the adaptive design. You can see right here that as you expand and collapse your file browser in Nautilus 43, that it's going to be adaptive, meaning for example, when you go to certain websites and you have different size monitors or different size displays for maybe you're doing tiling windows or something like that, the window, if the website's been set up for adaptive, it'll adjust to whatever your configuration is for your monitor for that window. And so that's what they're going to be doing with Nautilus. Now this might come in like really handy if you've got a bunch of files in a folder and you don't need to see all that detail off to the left hand side. You just need to see your files. But you can still see the little detail if you click on this little icon up here he shows. So if you don't need all this stuff over here, but you just need your files and you just want to throw it off to the side, this is nice. This is really nice. Something about rubber banding support. Part of this is visual, where if you're in list view, you absolutely have some delineation between different selected folders, icons of files, and things like that. Apparently, there's going to be more to it than this, and it's supposed to be able to select multiple files within a folder much easier. So I'm going to check into that. That looks kind of interesting. They are updating system programs and files that use the libadwaita theme better. So you can see on the left, for example, let's see if I can zoom that in. This is how it looks now, and this is how they're going to make it look in the future. This actually is a lot cleaner to look at. I think it's a great improvement. Yes, the dialogue's probably a bit bigger. I suppose if you're running a really small screen size, it might be a little annoying, but overall, I think that's a nice change. Sorting solutions. Well, again, we can go back over to our Nautilus over here, and I can show you what the sorting solutions are as of right now. But one of the things that they are adding to this is called recency, which means what are the files that I've been looking at the most recent. And that's kind of cool, because if you don't want to have to see everything that's in that folder, they're all different names and The alphabetical search just isn't going to help you. Last modified might not even be appropriate. This is going to be a very, very nice feature, the recency on there. Okay, so let's get rid of this for now. Savvy search. It's better defined in the toolbar, and you'll be able to switch to a filter icon instead of a drop-down arrow. And it's just going to be a lot easier to be able to determine what you're working with. Again, using the new lib-adwaita themes, this ought to make files a lot easier. And for example, the new contextual menus are going to look a lot nicer, a lot cleaner. They've kind of moved them around a little bit and make it a little bit more intuitive, I suppose. Disks, you get some really nice disk integration now with your file explorer or file manager. So I think they're getting there, and he's got a list of, wait, there's more. This website kind of goes into the same kind of things. They're also showing other items in here. For example, I noticed this in KDE quite a bit, is they have these emblems right here to show whether it's locked or if it's perhaps a symbolic link. So you'll start seeing that in the new files in GNOME 43. This little GIF kind of shows you a little bit. This is why the rubber band thing makes it a little bit nicer. You can see that when you click and drag to select, that it really works very nicely in a list view, as the same kind of functionality you would get in an icon view. And so, GNOME Web, what used to be called Epiphany, or maybe it still is, it's getting a major wake-up call. And that is that you can use Firefox or Chrome extensions in the GNOME Web browser. One of the things that I'm really interested in finding out, and I'm not really sure where I can get this information right now, but security-wise, how secure is GNOME Web versus LibreWolf, Firefox, Brave Browser, or Chromium, or Google Chromium? How secure is this? Is this an easy browser to kind of mess around with from an outside source, or is this such an obscure browser that nobody's even really worried about it at this time? I'll be interested. I'll try it. When it comes out, I'll definitely try it. They're going to be changing a little bit of the GNOME settings to make it easier. They're getting rid of the dog bark, which I'm really grateful for. I never really did like that one anyway. I wonder what they're going to use if they're going to replace that at all with anything. Software is supposed to be redesigned as well. It's supposed to be faster, give you more information when you want to take a look at something, and it will also let you know if a program is considered unsafe. Now, I think this is kind of funny. This is the GNOME software program. Kdenlive is a KDE program, and it's showing up as being unsafe. I'm not really sure what this is all about, but if you want to download and test some of this, they do have an alpha out that you can download. I would definitely suggest not using this on a production machine, and definitely if you have a virtual machine set up with GNOME that you want to play around with, then give it a shot. Maybe you'll be able to show us all a trick or two yourself. So those are some of the tweaks that I've done with GNOME, especially the Nautilus. There's other things that I've done. I've shown you extensions before that I use, and I've set up things the way I really like it. But those two little GNOME tricks I find they're not earth-shattering, but they're very, very helpful for me. And with the future of what's coming along with GNOME, I wonder if those little tweaks are still going to be available to us. I hope so, but we'll wait and see. And if there's a major break, I'll definitely say something about it. In the meantime, Let's remember our words of wisdom. Don't drive drunk. Don't drink and drive. Don't go to eBay or Amazon or use MS Edge browser for shopping all buzzed up thinking you're going to buy the latest, greatest, and coolest stuff, because you're probably not. In the meantime, bottoms up. Later, dudes.